And all summer long, they're just $1.99 now. The number 4 size is marked down from $24.99 to $7.99. And the savings are huge all the way up through the famous Super Jumbos. You can still pick out a flat of flowering annuals, mix and match them, just $1.99 each, or get the flat of 18 for $19.99. That's savings. Bob's favorite, Easy Care Drift and Knockout Roses, just $22.99. That's $7 under the money. Bob has camellias. They're budded and they start at just $12.99. Get there early for best selection. Bob Wines is on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, open daily till 4:30, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings each month at 9:05 a.m., Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest as we learn all about the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available at Ocala's premier adult active community, On Top of the World. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chats. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Joe Biden leads President Trump in new Fox News polls of 3 battleground states the president won in 2016, North Carolina, Arizona, and Wisconsin.
The poll finds if ballots were cast today, voters would favor Democratic nominee Joe Biden over President Trump 50 to 46% in North Carolina, 49 to 40% in Arizona, and 50 to 42% in Wisconsin.
Fox's Gernal Scott, a stylist who did House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's hair at a salon in San Francisco against coronavirus safety rules, says the salon's owner approved the appointment and said terrible things about Pelosi. The owner, Erica Callas, denies setting the speaker up for embarrassment and tells Fox's Tucker Carlson,
"Since this happened, I have received nothing but hate, text messages, death threats. They're going to burn my hair salon down."
America's listening to Fox News.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
There's no better feeling than grilling out, and there's no better place than Ace to get the best grill for you and your family. We have the hottest grills from top brands like Big Green Egg, Traeger, and Weber. And since our stores are locally owned and we're committed to helping our neighbors, we'll also assemble and deliver your grill for free. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know their grills. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members through September 7th on grills and accessories $3.99 and up. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions.
Live liberty.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your renter's insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Great. As a minimalist, I need simple insurance.
Nice place. No furniture?
Nothing spark joy, except for this fruit bowl.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, you only pay for what you need. So there's that.
I mean, look. So beautiful. So empty again.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 63 FM, The Source.
Some would say that this country is in the toilet. Some would even go so far as to say the economy is going down the drain. But we say, if water runs through it, we do it.
At Mike Scott Plumbing, we don't make promises we can't keep. We'll be there on time, every time. We promise to work around your schedule and not ours. And we won't charge you overtime for nights, weekends, or holidays. So remember, if water runs through it, we do it. Mike Scott Plumbing, 237-2888.
Hi, I'm Sean Scott, owner of Mike Scott Plumbing, and I approve this message.
Finally, the Cowboys are back in Ocala. September 4th and 5th, 7:30 night lane. Don't miss the 38th annual Ocala Shrine Rodeo. Broncs, Bulls, and Bullfighters. Two big shows as Cowboys ride to help children walk. For tickets and information, check out OcalaShrineRodeo.com. September 4th and 5th, Broncs, Bulls, and Bullfighters. Don't miss the 38th annual Ocala Shrine Rodeo.
Selling a home is one of the biggest decisions most people make. Please join Adam at 9:05 a.m. on the 9th when his guest will be Denise Madden of the All-Florida Home Team of Keller Williams. Denise will be discussing the guide she co-authored to help sellers navigate selling during the pandemic. You'll learn about virtual tours, staging, safety, pricing, and so much more. Again, that's 9:05 a.m. on the 9th. It's home selling news you can use from Denise Madden, All Florida Home Team, and your friends here at WOCA The Source.
When it really counts, depend on The Source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Partly sunny and humid today, high 91 to 95. Sunshine and humid tomorrow, high 92 to 96. Saturday humid with a mix of sun and clouds, high 92 to 94. Sunday humid with some sun, a thunderstorm spots in the afternoon, high 89 to 92. Monday, clouds and sun, humid, high 90 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian May.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
good morning. You're listening to AIM Ocala Live, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall, streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, The Source Radio. As we say good morning, happy Thursday, everybody. September 3rd. It's apple picking season. Do we have apple trees down here in Florida? I'm not sure, but nonetheless, this is a great day for it. Either way, as we're making our way closer to the weekend, on the back half of the week now, with this Thursday, as we're like I said, getting closer to the weekend, which is Labor Day weekend, and that marks the end of summer, so to speak, as the idea of Memorial Day is the beginning of, and Labor Day is the end. But nonetheless, it's good to move on, like we've been discussing as far as 2020 and how it's been and moving forward. And now we are in September. We bring about the height of hurricane season and all that good stuff. But at the same time, it's a little turn towards knowing that it's a gear up towards the end of the year, which is good. And here we are, 3 days in to September. And as we do, I got to get a little shout out to my dad, saying happy 61st birthday to our Pop, as it's his birthday today, which I wanted to shout out here early this morning. But as we welcome you to the show, we got a good show for you lined up. We got a busy one here for you to keep you a little informed and a little entertained here on this Thursday morning. As right now, Thursday morning, it's fairly nice out there. As we know, we had less of a chance in our area of an isolated thunderstorm and everything for the afternoon, although there were some places around Florida that brought a little bit of rain showers here and there. However, for today, it's just a 20% chance. With sunshine, and more sunshine, it's going to bring along a heat index valued at over 105. It's going to be a hot one. It was a hot one yesterday. As currently it's 76 degrees, 100% humidity out there as the sun's coming up. No clouds in the sky at the moment, but as that comes through, we should see that change slightly. But for the afternoon, we see just a 20% chance of maybe a shower or thunderstorm, something isolated around 2 p.m. But otherwise, mostly sunny. Your high will be in the mid-90s, near 95. As like we said, heat index valued at 105. As that carries in, maybe a 40% chance late tonight for a shower or a thunderstorm, and that'll bring more sunshine for the same idea of the forecast for tomorrow, Saturday. Sunday shows a little bit more prescribed rain, and then Monday it shows for Labor Day even more as we approach 90 with an 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms on Labor Day. But obviously that could change overall. Nonetheless, we're still keeping an eye on the tropics and everything else that's going on with the heightened hurricane season as Nana is making its way through Central America now with heightened winds as the named storm. But nonetheless, nothing impacting us at the moment as they still are keeping an eye on what's going out there in the Atlantic Basin. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, as we do got a good show for you lined up, as we're going to get the conversation rolling with a little informative news as we carry on for this Thursday. At the top of the 8 o'clock hour, Life South Community Blood Centers. We'll be talking with Galen as some more NBA basketball came through last night to shape up what is the next round for the playoffs, as we'll talk a little bit about that, as well as getting out there, giving a gift of life, and donating blood. As well, when we get to the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, Medicine Choices, our interview with Dr. Joel Zive, as sounds like interesting here to get things talked about with some medicine choices. And then before the top of the 9 o'clock hour, another interview with Chief Nursing Officer DaVita, as DaVita Care, kidney care, and preparing kidney patients and what that means alongside COVID-19, keeping you informed with a lot of good information. And then as well as we continue on, because it's Thursday, top of the 9 o'clock hour, we'll welcome Veterans News like we do every Thursday with Hank and Gary, as they keep you up to date with some of the veterans news to Vets Helping Vets and all the stuff that you can do to get out there and help your veterans. After that, we'll roll with Lori Williams, as we'll find out what deals they've got going on this Labor Day weekend at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, as we'll discuss a little bit about what they've got and so to speak of deals that come through with their plants, with their flowers, with their trees, and even the miscellaneous items that can get your patio looking nice, as we'll talk with Lori Williams for that. And then before the 10 o'clock hour, we'll be talking with the former state FFA officer, and current Culver's spokesperson, talking about agricultural education and some of the farmers' projects out there. And as we continue on, then we got something after that. Bottom of the 10 o'clock hour, we'll round that with the Rock with the Doc. We'll have an interview with Dr. Adam Zwig as we'll talk with him, and then finish the show with some county commission, feel what's going on within the community as we invite county commission in. So as we welcome you to the show, we say good morning as we do. As we mentioned, it's actually fairly nice out there right now, so not too bad at all. It is now time, though, for your Ocala Quick Minute News, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. As we take a look, as the coronavirus pandemic continues, Florida is launching an in-state ad campaign to revive the devastated tourism industry. As Governor Ron DeSantis was in Daytona Beach for the announcement with officials of Visit Florida.
We've got a lot of folks out there that have been hurting. We've got a lot of people that kind of had their livelihoods taken away when our tourism industry collapsed at the end of March. And so I'm excited to be here. I think this is well thought out.
$13 million will be spent between now and December on broadcast, streaming, social media, billboards, all to encourage Floridians to visit parts of the state that they haven't been to before. Governor Ron DeSantis is naming the outgoing Florida House Republican leader as the new director of the state's Department of Economy Opportunity. Dane Eagle will replace Ken Lawson, who resigned on Monday. DeSantis shelved Lawson earlier this year when the DEO was unable to handle the surge of unemployment claims due to the coronavirus pandemic. A cyber attack leaves students and teachers in Miami-Dade County locked out of their online classrooms for a third day in a row. Superintendent Alberto Cavarolo says the FBI, Secret Service, and Miami-Dade Police are investigating.
Yesterday's attacks, we know some of them came from outside of the country. We know some, these attacks came from local entities.
As Carvalho says, the attacks have not penetrated the system, but they have been successful in preventing access to the resources teachers and students need. As Florida's latest coronavirus numbers include more than 2,500 new cases, which is hard to understand numbers now after what we learned from Quest Diagnostics yesterday, as they say more 2,500 new cases with 126 additional deaths that take the death toll past 11,500. As SpaceX is planning to launch a 12th batch of Starlink internet satellites from Kennedy Space Center this morning, as the weather forecast is 80% a go. In sports, the Miami Heat are up 2-0 on the top-seeded Milwaukee Bucks in their second-round playoff series in the NBA's Orlando bubble, as the Miami Heat won last night 116-114, as Jimmy Butler sank 2 free throws after being fouled at the final buzzer. And disappointing news for Tampa Bay Bucks as the team says no fans will be allowed at their first 2 home games. For your Ocala Quick Minute News, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. The Source. We'll be back right after this.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings each month at 9:05 a.m., Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest as we learn all about the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available at Ocala's premier adult active community, On Top of the World. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chat. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. In addition to our pasture mowing and tractor services, including zero-turn mowers for your fence line finish, we also offer rototilling and fence row spraying. We are family-owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm-ready. Powell Gene, Gene, at yahoo.com, 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Why call Two Men in a Truck? If you're like most people, you're moving and you work hard. You call 352-289-0666. You need pros, trained, professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. You call 352-289-0666. People who care about your things as much as you do. Time is of the essence, and you want it done fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, the movers who care. Visit twomeninatruck.com today and get moving. So call 352-289-0666.
2 Men in a Truck.
WOCA.
Ocala.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Partly sunny and humid today, high 91 to 95. Sunshine and humid tomorrow, high 92 to 96. Saturday, humid with a mix of sun and clouds, high 92 to 94. Sunday, humid with some sun, thunderstorm spots in the afternoon, high 89 to 92. Monday, clouds and sun, humid, high 90 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian May.
WOCA.
Ocala.
Welcome back to the show. You're listening to AM Ocala Live, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, broadcasting to you live as we welcome you this morning, September 3rd. Woo, one step closer to Labor Day weekend as we approach that. Moving forward towards the weekend, we just talked about the expectations of it being maybe a little wet on Labor Day, but it's right now fairly dry and hot, except for maybe a chance of an isolated shower, stuff like that in the afternoon as we roll on for the rest of the week. And what that means for the weather is some good news as SpaceX aims for this morning for more of the Starlink satellites for launch. SpaceX will try again this Thursday morning to send another batch of the Starlink satellites to orbit after Mother Nature scuttled its initial try over the weekend as they move through. It says the 12th Starlink mission is set to take off from Launch Complex 39 Alpha at the Kennedy Space Center here at 8:46 a.m. this morning. And right now, with the blue skies as the way they are, with really no clouds in the way, it might be advantageous to look towards the east as we might see it here this morning in the next hour. It says the Falcon 9 rocket will be carrying dozens of Starlink satellites for a constellation around Earth that will eventually comprise of tens of thousands of these satellites. So the network, which will take years to complete, they said, is intended to expand internet access to underserved areas. They will join the hundreds of others already in orbit to soon form a large broadband network to provide service to areas around the world that don't have it at this point. It says after the morning's launch, SpaceX drone ships are in position to recover the Falcon 9, its first stage of boosters, plus the rocket's 2 fairing halves out at the Atlantic Ocean. Forecasters with the Air Force's 45th Weather Squadron put the chance of favorable weather for Tuesday's attempt this morning at 80%. SpaceX's first launch attempt was scheduled to go up what was Sunday morning, but the company stood down just over 2 hours before scheduling liftoff because of the poor weather conditions, because it rained, what was it, Sunday, Monday, and a little bit into Tuesday because of poor weather conditions as that comes through. But a little interesting there, and a little something to keep you a little updated on, is that'll happen within the next hour, and with the blue skies out there, it might be worth taking a look at as that goes up there to deliver more of those Starlink satellites. As we've talked about that before here on the show, just how many of them, as they're wondering the size of them. They're about the size of a coffee table, those Starlink satellites, as we found out, thinking that maybe they were like bigger than that, like maybe the size of a car or something to the extent of. But nonetheless, it's just the size of a coffee table, but still thinking about tens of thousands of them up there is a little crazy still, nonetheless, to think about. As it comes through with the National Hurricane Service, when we mention the weather, is that they're tracking a tropical storm, a tropical depression, a tropical wave, and an area, they say, of low pressure. As it's been mentioned that Nana has developed into a storm that's moving towards the land there of Central America, poised to hit Belize, as it was for yesterday becoming the storm there, Omar, that was just off the Carolinas, as that's moving its way out to sea. As they mentioned, Nana continues to move west and is expected to become a hurricane tonight, and is the earliest 14th named storm on record, which is why it's interesting to talk about to an extent. It says the prior record was Nate back in September 6th of 2005. It says Tropical Depression Omar has weakened to a tropical depression, according to the National Hurricane Center. It's 5 p.m. update. It says Omar is located just about 265 miles north of now Bermuda. And it says no watches or warnings have been issued. And Omar set a record Tuesday for the earliest 15th named storm previously held by Ophelia. That was September 7th, 2005. And boy, I tell you what, when you start thinking back to 2005, obviously Katrina stands out. But when you start breaking it down, you realize just how incredibly active that season was. And here we are 15 years later, and it's, yep, hell in a handbag. As they take a look at one of the disturbances, it says showers and thunderstorms associated with an area of low pressure located about midway between the Windward Islands and West Africa. As it remains disorganized, however, they are keeping an eye on it, as it could make its way to have an impact or become something different as it works its way through the warmer waters, and knowing that this time of year being the peak, and it is the peak because the temperature of the water is where it's advantageous for these storms to come up. The second disturbance, as mentioned, was a tropical wave located just off the coast of West Africa. Again, is producing limited showers, as the wave is expected to merge with the disturbance centered as a couple of 100 miles southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands, they say, towards the end of the week. Now, with that disturbance, they say, what are the chances of strengthening between the second and the first disturbance that we mentioned? As says, they say within the 48 hours, a 20% chance of that first little disturbance there near the Windward Islands. As they say, in 5 days, maybe about a 30% chance. Well, the second disturbance with the Cabo Verde Islands towards the end of the week, they're saying, has about, within the week, about a 60% chance of strengthening to develop into something that might be worth watching. As Tropical Storm Nana is expected to strengthen and is forecast to become a hurricane tonight before it reaches the coast of Belize, as they then say weakening is expected immediately after landfall, as they discuss that a little bit towards not being a huge huge impact is that hurricane conditions are expected in the hurricane warning area in Belize tonight and early Tuesday. But the tropical storm conditions expected tonight as those conditions continue with the warning areas of Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico tonight. The hurricane conditions possible in the hurricane watch area for tonight as well. Omar, no hazards at all. Disturbance 1 and 2, still early to tell, but we'll keep an eye on it, keep you a little informed as we can see what that means come later in the week, as it's far enough away that, why bother? I guess if you're a geek like weather, you pay a little bit more attention, which is maybe one of the reasons why I'm going over it overall, because it's just something interesting to talk about, and it's hard to get political with tropical depression. But nonetheless, as we were talking a little bit yesterday with the idea of Dr. Anthony Fauci mentioning that the idea of I guess you could say, a quicker result for a vaccine, as it's possible that we were looking at maybe 2021 for the vaccine early, as they're now saying it could be as early as the end of the year and maybe possibly earlier, in the idea that they could move things ahead prior to finishing what would be phase 3 of the process of vetting the vaccine, as we are looking towards, well, the idea that maybe, just maybe, as that would come through, it would be to the idea that, maybe that would get things back to normal. But I know one of the big questions is whether or not your employer would mandate that. And I was talking to somebody yesterday. It was the idea in the conversation of knowing that if that's the case, if it's still surveyed that half of the population in the United States would be either for taking the vaccine or not taking it at all, that's still a big leap in the right direction to maybe returning to some normalcy. And I wonder, like we made the joke before, if that comes after the election. But nonetheless, well, we got a good show for you lined up as we continue on here, making our way towards the top of the 8 o'clock hour as we say good morning to you on this early day of September here. Beautiful weather here for the moment, 75 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. We can expect more dry air, but for the afternoon, just an isolated chance of showers and thunderstorms. So stay tuned. We got more good show coming your way right here, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
I'm Chris Foster. Joe Biden visits Kenosha, Wisconsin today, 2 days after President Trump's trip there to meet with law enforcement and see damage from vandalism during police shooting protests.
Joe Biden arrives here in Kenosha, we're told, with stops today that include meetings with members of the community and law enforcement.
We have to heal. This is about making sure that we move
and we move forward. This will be the first visit here by a Democratic presidential nominee since 2012 in a state that President Trump carried in 2016.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Protests in Washington, D.C. after an 18-year-old black man is shot and killed by police investigating a report of people with guns in a car.
They say when they got there, they encountered several people in and around a car, and when they saw police is when two of them apparently ran off, starting a pursuit. One of the men running pulled out a gun, and the officer shot at him, according to police.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. America's listening to Fox News.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
There's no better feeling than grilling out, and there's no better place than Ace to get the best grill for you and your family. We have the hottest grills from top brands like Big Green Egg, Traeger, and Weber. And since our stores are locally owned and we're committed to helping our neighbors, we'll also assemble and deliver your grill for free. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know their grills. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members through September 7th on grills and accessories $3.99 and up. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your renter's insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Great. As a minimalist, I need simple insurance.
Nice place. No furniture?
Nothing spark joy, except for this fruit bowl.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, you only pay for what you need, so there's that.
I mean, look. So beautiful. So empty again.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source. When it really counts, depend on The Source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Partly sunny and humid today, high 91 to 95. Sunshine and humid tomorrow, high 92 to 96. Saturday humid with a mix of sun and clouds, high 92 to 94. Sunday humid with some sun, thunderstorm spots in the afternoon, high 89 to 92. Monday, clouds and sun, humid, high 90 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian May.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Today in Ag News from the Southeast AgNet, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative, the Department of Agriculture, and Department of Commerce released a report that outlines their plan to address the threat posed by increased foreign imports to American producers of seasonal and perishable fruits and vegetables. Based on information collected from last month's public hearings, the agencies are committing to various actions. They include USTR requesting the International Trade Commission to initiate a Section 201 global safeguard investigation. Also, USTR will pursue senior-level government-to-government discussions with Mexico over the next 90 days to address imports of Mexican strawberries, bell peppers, and other seasonable products. The Department of Commerce will establish an outreach program to connect with Southeast and other growers, and the Department of Agriculture will increase targeted outreach to producers of seasonable and perishable fruits and vegetables to maximize the use of existing Department of Ag programs. To read the full plan, go to vscnews.com. Howler fungicide from Ag Biome Innovations is a revolutionary new fungicide that works great on a number of specialty crops. Ag Biome Technical Service Manager Bob McInnes explains how it helps plants entering the fruiting and flowering stages fight key diseases.
Anthracnose, alternaria, powdery mildew, downy mildew, and botrytis, which is a fruit rotter that attacks even vegetables and small fruits like blueberries and strawberries in the field, but really can cause a lot of post-harvest problems, and Howler is key to controlling these diseases and pathogens. At planting, make an application either as a drip or drench application. For transplants, direct seeded, you can incorporate in the soil, getting the plants off to a healthy start, and then protecting that foliage and fruiting structure so you can get the yield and quality.
Howler fungicide can be used effectively at every phase of production. Learn more at agbiome.com. Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Stay connected with the centers in person or telehealth using computer, iPhone, or Android. Phone 352-291-5555.
Welcome back. You're listening to AM Ocala Live, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall. We are streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, the Source Radio. As it is now 6 minutes past the top of the 8 o'clock hour, it is time for Life South Community Blood Centers with our good friend Galen. Morning, Galen. Happy Thursday, buddy.
Hey, Adam, how are you today, my man? Feeling good?
Doing pretty good. As we were just talking a little bit there, it's nice to see 2 mornings in a row where it's fairly a little bit cooler. We still got some humidity, but it's nice to see some sunshine as we're moving through the week. It feels better, my friend. I'm thinking about September. Here we are now 3 days in, and I don't know about you, but it just kind of feels like there's some things to look forward to with a little talk of the NFL I want to get into as the NBA's rolling on. This is the final month for the Major League Baseball's regular season, and at the same time, we were discussing yesterday a little bit that the schedule is out for the FHSAA for the high school football. So it feels good. We're moving towards Labor Day weekend, and it feels like I don't know, like there is some stuff to look forward to again. Am I right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, things are slowly starting to turn to normal, and again, I think once we can, put some fans in the seats, I think that's it. I mean, movie theaters are open, kids are in school, and I think all is well. The positivity rate for COVID is dropping a little bit every day, and I think it'll continue to do that. I think we're going to find a spot where it just stays, and I think you're always going to have. As long as they're tracking it the way they are, I think you're always going to have a certain percentage of the population that's positive, just like you do with every other virus. Right. I don't know where that number lands. If we look at Switzerland, it's somewhere, Switzerland's staying right around 6%. Mm-hmm. And for the whole duration of this, I think it peaked at 9%, and it stayed at 6% with that herd mentality. So we'll just see.
Yep.
But, yeah, I think we're learning to live with it a little bit better.
I think so, and I think that, like we said, kind of gives some of this idea as we move through towards the fall, towards the end of the year. I think this also starts. This is funny too because a few people have mentioned the same thing. So we've got the. I'm just going to say generic Halloween shop that's now here at the mall for this time of year for your costumes and all that kind of stuff. And so many people have commented that they were very pleased to see that because they know when seeing a store like that we know Halloween is coming up and it's a holiday and it's something to look forward to. And so much so the idea is that, well, that's 2 months away and there's a possibility that could feel normal again for doing something like Halloween, and then the month after that with Thanksgiving, and then of course with Christmas and New Year's. And I think that's what it is too, is like there's a little energy feeling like, all right, these are the signs that say we are dealing with the virus and we can move forward. But in the idea of where we still see the CYA stuff, I think it was mentioned as we talked about it on the Quick Minute News this morning, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go without fans in the stands for the first 2 games of the season. And I was wondering your opinion on that, partner.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I understand it. Again, at least they won't be blacked out, right?
Right.
They'll be able to watch it locally.
That's true.
They picked up Leonard Fournette, and again, I have not missed fans at all. I don't know if I'm like the only person who. I really like the look of the NBA.
Yeah.
I do not miss fans at all.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, because of everything that comes with it. Now you got cheerleaders, and I think cheerleaders are kind of silly. I think bands are kind of silly. I think a lot of that, the noise that they make is kind of silly.
Yeah.
I think the wave may be the dumbest thing ever invented, right up there with the Zuzuzela thing. I didn't know I was a purist, but I just love the sound of the game.
Yeah.
And I said this from the beginning, so I don't know. I do not miss fans. Don't miss them at golf. Don't miss them at baseball. Don't miss them at basketball. Will I miss them at football? Maybe, but I'll still be watching the Red Zone 90% of the time anyway.
Right.
So why not?
We're the fans,
I don't care about all the shots and everything, and I like the sound of the game. And with football, if they didn't say anything, and they just played the sounds of the game, they didn't play all that music and fake crowd noise, I think people would love it.
Yeah.
Because when you stand on the sidelines of an NFL game, the sound of them hitting each other is so loud.
Yeah.
And you realize the violence with which it's played. And when the ball comes through the air and the way it hisses through the air is completely different than anything you've ever heard. Even if you played high school with a quarterback who was really good, I was on the sidelines and Dan Marino was throwing against the Jaguars, and you could hear the ball coming through the air.
Yeah.
Or when the punter puts his foot into the ball, that sound it's like a boom. And it to me, I love that. I love that part of the game.
That's awesome. Now, going back to it, you mentioned Leonard Fournette. What's going on with Jacksonville? Are they just... is this...
It depends on what you think Leonard Fournette is.
Okay.
What has Leonard Fournette ever been?
Right.
I think he was an overpaid running back. He was drafted too high.
Yeah.
Running backs, you can literally go down to the corner grocery store and pick up a Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
And he was making $4.5 million a season, and the Jags are like, let's just cut him. I mean, they didn't even try to trade him. That means there was no interest in him whatsoever.
Yeah, so...
And they just cut him. And he's always had a bit of a prima donna kind of an attitude ever since he came out of LSU.
Mm-hmm.
But he's never really performed. He's hurt a lot. I have no problem with this. And I was a little shocked that the Bucs picked him up, but they do need a veteran running back.
Right.
Somebody who can catch the ball, because Brady loves that running back out of the backfield. So maybe that's what it was. And so does the coach. His name flew out of my mind. But
Bruce Arians.
Yeah, he loves. Yeah, Arians loves that running back catching the ball.
Is something like a prima donna, like you mentioned, because it sounds like an attitude thing, especially too when they're like, cut him. Like, it's not even an idea of like what we could get. It's one of those things where it's just like they're over it. Is something like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with now having a Tom Brady and a Gronkowski, and what probably the underlining foundation of what they're playing for now is good for somebody like Leonard Fournette. Now, is he going to fit into that well, or do you think he might still kind of be like you said, like a little prima donna, or kind of not gel very well? I'd say, if anything, I think
how they use him.
Yeah, and
I mean, how is he going to be a prima donna on that team?
Right.
I mean, he's like the sixth option.
Right.
So no, and again, when you can't be a prima donna when you're hanging around with guys like Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady, two Hall of Famers, two of the greatest players in this century.
Yep.
Two of the greatest. You could argue that they're the greatest players at their position. It's hard to be a prima donna. It really is. But we'll see. And let's be clear: running back is the easiest position in the NFL to learn.
Okay.
Especially if you're going to be the third down guy.
I was wondering where
you don't even have to block.
Right. I was wondering where you were going with that statement for a little bit there. You're like, it's the easiest. I was like, what's he getting at here? But yeah, as far as to learn,
easy position to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. There's.
It's the same things you learn. Linebacker gets complicated. Even cornerbacks and safeties and defensive lines get more complicated as you grow older.
Yeah.
But running back gets simpler. It's it's still A gap, B gap, C gap, B gap, depending on what all you have to do is learn the terms. Your routes are the same.
Yep.
And then you pick up the inside man for blocking. It's as easy as it gets. It truly is.
Hey, speaking of that real quick, just thought in my head, and I don't think we've ever talked about it when we were calling football. In the NFL and the times that you spent doing what you do, who has come away as, say, your top 3 running backs of all time in the NFL that you've enjoyed watching or seen play or just know are really good? Who do you consider to be some of the greatest running backs?
The first 2 are pretty simple, and that's Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders. Yeah. Actually, Emmitt's a guy I saw in high school.
Yeah. Penn School.
One of the first games I ever broadcast.
Oh, was that right?
My father was the Pensacola game against Forest High School, the first one.
Oh,
I was a sophomore. He was a junior.
Yeah.
He made Sports Illustrated.
That's awesome.
I've talked to him off the field a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. Barry Sanders, I saw win the Heisman in Tokyo when they presented it to him at the Egg Dome. Those are my 2. And then Walter Payton, when I was a little kid, I literally thought he was a god.
Yeah.
So I literally thought he was the greatest human being on the planet for a while.
Yeah.
So those are my top 3.
That's awesome.
It was just, first of all, he's got such a great nickname, Sweetness.
Right.
What a great nickname. And he was that player off the field, apparently. I never met him, never talked to him, died too early. But, those would be my top 3 in no particular order.
You mentioned Barry Sanders. I was a huge fan of him. He's I would say right there with you. Like it's like Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, right in there. Unfortunately, I really didn't get to see much of Sweetness. So my third, I'm not really sure, but I know my top 2 are right there the same. And I could say Emmitt number 1 just because of how much I watched him in the 90s and the idea of not really liking the Cowboys at all, but to be honest with you, not liking the Cowboys, I always respected him as a running back and the way he played. And then for him to actually achieve, the most yards ever in a career was absolutely incredible too. And then with Barry Sanders, it was always just so disappointing that he was with the Lions. And it makes you wonder if...
He is arguably the greatest player to play for the worst team.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know how you... I don't know if what I'm saying is coming over. He has no talent around him.
None.
So there's a guy I got to know pretty well with the Jacksonville Jaguars. His name is Ty Halleck. He was a fullback, tight end, H-back in the league, really before there was such a thing. And so he was never really had a position, but he was a great special teamer. I thought he was a great dude. And, I would just bust his chops all the time. Like, yeah, man, you blocked for the greatest football player of all time. And he's like, yeah. That's the only time he rushed for 2,000 yards was when I was in front of him. I'm like, how's it feel to be the second best player on the worst team in NFL history?
Yeah.
So I would tell him stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Like, yeah, you blocked for the guy and no one knows your name. So, Ty was a great guy. He was a great guy. So I really enjoyed hanging out with him. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, you hear things like that, and he would tell stories about how Barry in spring training would run like 3 plays on offense.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do any of the drills where they were in full speed or going pads. And what the heck was the coach named not Fuentes? Barry something. He would say, Barry, I don't trust any of these guys not to fall on me.
Oh.
They were so terrible.
Yeah.
And so he would literally run 3 plays or so. Or even get close enough to them because they were so terrible.
Yeah.
He would take 3 plays, he would get 3 touchdowns, and then would go back and kind of stand on the sideline. And so he would talk about that all the time. He's like, he goes, you don't understand how good he is. He said, like, if you put him on an offensive line that was decent, he would be unstoppable.
I was going to say, if he was on do you see that if come to fruition that he was on a different team, had been better offensive line, could you have seen him achieving way more and even possibly maybe getting an all-time rushing leader status?
I mean, I guess. I mean, Barry was not the most, apparently, and I don't know him. This is just from Ty. He wasn't the most competitive person in the world.
Yeah.
He was just incredibly gifted at what he did.
Yeah.
He enjoyed the craft.
Yeah.
And he was a natural runner.
Natural, yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if he'd fit in a scheme, like Emmett Smith. They were completely different runners.
Yep.
Emmett loved to run, exactly what the coach told him.
Yep.
And his gift was to make one guy miss.
Yeah. And then that was it.
That's not Barry's gift. Barry was, you put him in space, he's going to destroy you. You put him in an offense. If they were to use him I think in even the New England system, where they have a way of finding a guy and putting him in space, he would be very good, but he didn't block really well. He would never play third down for the New England Patriots, but just a gifted runner.
Yeah. Were you
needed the ball a lot.
Were you surprised when he retired when he did?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, he had nothing left to prove. He had got the minimum. Now he's doing all kinds of. I think I saw him doing a commercial for the Blue Pill. I think he did a commercial for a divorce attorney.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems happy.
Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. Why not? To move it on a little bit, partner, to the NBA from last night. As I want to start with the Miami Heat, now 2-0 with the lead, and it finished a little interesting. But I got to tell you, Miami Heat, they're fun to watch. We've been asking, are they they're a team to keep an eye on? Are they? We're looking now 2-0, and I see them possibly. Could they sweep Milwaukee? Do you think that's possible? Or do you think Milwaukee will get one in?
My son, before the playoffs started, he goes, watch, the Heat are really good, and nobody's respecting them. I said, they have one guy. He goes, and my son loves the NBA, and he's tuned into it. He goes, Dad, you don't know. These guys can just shoot, and he goes, watch how they move the ball. And
yeah.
They're gonna destroy whoever they play. And then when they face the Bucks, he goes, they're the Bucks' kryptonite. They're going to sweep them because they can be, they can guard Giannis pretty easily.
Yeah.
And the Bucks don't have anyone who can score the way the Heat can score. The Heat have 8 or 9 guys who can score, and that's a rarity.
Right.
They shot the ball terribly yesterday.
Yeah.
Still managed to win. Maybe the worst officiated last 2 minutes in NBA history.
Yeah.
With those 2 fouls they called, even going back to some of the techs they called for being in the landing zone.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I went to bed. I didn't stay up for the last one. I don't even know who won. Who won the last game between the OKC and the Rockets?
It was the Rockets, 104-102.
Yeah,
as
they would.
Yeah. They'll be moving on to play Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow as they'll begin that second round, which I got a feeling that the Lakers, I think that it might drag out a little bit with the series, might go 6 games. But I think at the end of the day, the Lakers got that over the Rockets because we know Harden can't play defense. And I think at the end of the day, that's how that'll go. But
you know what? It's a better matchup because
it is. Yeah, I thought that too.
Harden can cover a guy who's never going to shoot.
Yeah.
And with your LeBron, there's only 2 dudes on that team.
Yeah.
There's AD and there's LeBron.
Yep.
He can cover their point guard.
Yep.
Their point guard can't score.
No.
And so the question is who's going to cover James Harden? LeBron's not going to cover him because he's not going to exert that kind of energy.
No.
And then you have Westbrook, who has beaten LeBron before, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And like you said, that is a better matchup too, and that's what I think makes it a little interesting. The Celtics also, when we talk about the Heat, and when I think about them moving on to play the Celtics, I think that's going to be a great matchup, as right now Boston's up 2-0 over the Raptors, and in a way I could see the Raptors starting to fade away here.
Yeah, they just don't have that guy, right? I mean, they got away with it in the regular season, and the playoffs, everything gets jacked up a little bit, and they're just missing. They're really missing Leonard now that they had last year, so that they could lean on to really go get a bucket. They don't have a guy who can really go get a bucket, and sometimes that's what you need. And the Heat don't have that either, but they got 5 guys who can shoot.
Right.
From anywhere at any time, and that's deadly.
Yeah.
And their ball movement is extraordinary. So much fun to watch.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, moving on, partner, as we take a look, we've been mentioning now it's Thursday, and we've had some sunshiny days. I was going to ask you, how were things yesterday? Is it still hurting when it comes to giving the gift of life, donating blood?
You know, the system is kind of just sat over the southeast. It cleared up a little bit in the afternoon, but, you know, early in the morning it was pouring. So not a great day again. And so what happens is when we don't collect what we need to several days in a row, it just piles on and the deficit gets bigger. The demand stays the same.
Right.
And as we draw less and less, the demand just grows. So we're still in emergency need of everything. If you have blood in your veins, that's the type we need. Come by and see us. We're right there at the boulevard. And go to lifesouth.org to make an appointment. You know, the blood drive schedule is out there for the next 3 weeks. You could check it out, see where we're at. Today we're at the Walmart out in the village, not the villages, the shores.
Okay.
So come by and see us, but you got to make an appointment still. You know, we're still asking that you wear a mask and all that good stuff, and socially distancing. So please, just give the life, donate blood.
And in the mention of the COVID-19, I think I saw something where even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his family contracted the COVID-19. And
well, I'm hoping he's doing plasma now. He promoted it, so hopefully he's doing the convalescent plasma.
Yeah. As we mentioned that to anybody there who is recovered fully from the COVID-19, and as you want to give blood as well as testing the successful blood donors for that COVID-19 antibodies in search of that convalescent plasma. I know you did mention yesterday that the actual need for it had dropped significantly, although there's still a need for it. But also, like you said, the novelty of getting tested to whether or not you did have the antibodies kind of wore off as well.
Yep. Oh, true. We'll see. Again, I don't know who to believe, but there's there's going to be a spike this winter. It'll be here in November. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Right.
So we have to prepare for the worst, just as any emergency response system has to prepare for the worst.
Yep.
So we're ready, and the only way we're ready is if we have people walking through the doors willing to sacrifice a little of themselves in order to save someone else.
Absolutely, partner. One thing I'm going to leave it for today, when we talked about a little bit of the NFL, the NBA, I was going to leave it to you for baseball. It's September 3rd.
Yeah.
Who do you think takes the division in the AL East?
Not the Red Sox. Definitely not the Red Sox. They may finish with again, this team is historically bad.
Yeah.
This will be the worst team in team history.
Yeah.
Win percentage-wise. This is one of the oldest teams in Major League Baseball. They may have a winning percentage in a game of baseball below 250.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. Like, losing 100 games is like... And oh my God, they're bad. No, who wins the AL East is I like the Rays. I think the Rays are healthy.
Yeah.
I think the Rays are built. I think the Yankees are a better playoff team because they can throw out Garrett Cole. and the Rays don't have anybody to match at Garrett Cole. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, the Rays win the division. The Yankees are a better team.
Interesting. Well, we appreciate it, my friend. Get safe where you're going. We look forward to rounding out the week tomorrow when we get closer to that Labor Day weekend. You take care, my friend.
All right, thanks, Adam. Be good. Later, Joe.
WOCA back after this.
Joe Biden arrives here in Kenosha, we're told, with stops today that include meetings with members of the community and law enforcement.
We have to heal. This is about making sure that we move forward.
This will be the first visit here by a Democratic presidential nominee since